Bonjour and welcome to C'est la vie, the podcast that makes learning French simple and fun. I'm your host, Michael, and with me, as always, is Rachel, our brilliant language expert. Bonjour, Rachel.
Bonjour, Michael. I'm excited for today's topic. We're diving into something every beginner needs: how to ask questions in French.
Exactly. It's fundamental. So, where do we start? What's the simplest way to turn a statement into a question?
The easiest way is just by changing your intonation. You take a simple sentence like tu parles anglais, which means you speak English, and you just raise your voice at the end. Tu parles anglais?
Right, so it's the same sentence, just spoken like a question.
Exactly. But for a more structured question, you can add est-ce que at the beginning of the sentence. It literally translates to is it that, but it functions like a universal question marker. So, est-ce que tu parles anglais?
That's super useful. Est-ce que? Okay, but what about the classic question words like where, when, how much?
Great question. Let's go through them. Where is où? So to ask where is the bakery, you would say où est la boulangerie?
Où est la boulangerie? Got it. And that's a perfect example of asking for directions.
Yes, directions is a podcast in itself. For now, let's stick to the question. Whenever we have to ask where, we use où.
Got it. I think I found the topic for our next podcast. Thanks, Rachel.
hmm Now, let's move on to the next form of question, how much, which is very common when you're shopping. To ask how much does it cost, you use combien. The complete phrase is combien ça coûte.
Combien ça coûte? How much does it cost? Perfect for the market.
Totally. Then we have quel, which means which or what. You use it before a noun. For example, quelle heure est-il, which means what time is it?
We have come across this in one of our earlier episodes where we discuss numbers and time in French.
Right. One more important point. It's a bit advanced. It sounds the same, but we write it differently for masculine and feminine nouns. Quel with ELE at the end for feminine nouns, and quel without ELE at the end for masculine. But for now, just remembering the phrase is a great start.
That makes sense. Now, what about the big one? How do you ask what in a general sense?
Ah, yes, that would be qu'est-ce que. It looks intimidating, but just think of it as a single block that means what. For example, qu'est-ce que tu veux manger? Meaning, what do you want to eat?
Qu'est-ce que? It's a mouthful, but I see how it works. It combines that est-ce que we learned earlier.
Yes, it's all very logical once you break it down.
What about who? That seems like a pretty important one.
Who is qui. For example, qui est là, which means who is there, or qui vient à la fête, which means who is coming to the party.
I think I got the idea.
Great. And with these key phrases, anyone can start navigating daily situations, asking for directions with où, for the price with combien, and making general inquiries with qu'est-ce que.
Wow, that is really great. Let me think if we are missing anything. Ah, yes, when. How you use when in French.
Oh, yes, this is another important one. For when, we use quand. For instance, if we have to say, when are you coming, it is quand arrives-tu in French.
Okay.
There's a little gotcha here. Quand is used when we are talking about a general time of day, but we use à quelle heure when we want to talk about a specific time. For example, if we want to ask, when does the bus arrive, we say, à quelle heure arrive le bus?
This has been incredibly helpful, Rachel. Let's do a quick recap for our listeners.
Of course. Use est-ce que to turn a sentence into a question, où for where, combien for how much, quel for which, qu'est-ce que for what, and qui for who, and quand for when.
Fantastic. That's all the time we have for today's episode of C'est la vie. A huge thank you to Rachel.
Merci, Michael. Practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to try them out.
And thank you to all our listeners. Join us next time for more French learning. Au revoir!